Research has found that managers spend 35 to 50% of their days in meetings. One of the things that I share with clients is to take stock of the meetings that you are participating in. And I call it a meeting analysis. And I have a form that you could download on powerfulculture.com. It's something that I created in my book, A Powerful Culture Starts With You. It's called a meeting analysis form. And for 2 weeks, write down all the meetings that you're going to. And at the end of it, what you do is go back and analyze how strategic are those meetings. Should you be the one going to them? Should you be sending your employees to them to help them develop and make connections while you do the more strategic work with the time that's been loosened up by not going to some of these meetings? Another thing that I want to share is how to run effective meetings. Let's say you do a meeting analysis and you realize that there are some meetings you don't need to go to. Great. Typically, my clients will save up to 5 hours a week, which is huge, which could be used on Fridays for strategy and thinking time, which I talk about in another video. What about the meetings that still exist? What I recommend are taking the following steps to ensure that these meetings are productive, have the right people in the room, and bringing out the best outcomes. Number one, let's imagine the person who's running the meeting has asked you, can you observe and let me know if this is run efficiently, if this is meaningful, if we have good outcomes? And you say, sure. So here are some things to pay attention to. Number one, who is in the room? Are the right participants in that space? Oftentimes, the people who are setting up meetings invite a lot of people who don't need to necessarily be there. So are the key decision makers and the people they want to develop, if that's the case, there? Or are there multiple people there who don't necessarily need to be there and they don't want to be there? So it's really key to discover that. Number two, what is the frequency of this meeting? Does it have to be at the frequency that it currently is today? Or is that something that was handed down over time by other leaders? It's really important to take a moment and decide, does this need to be as often as it is now? Number three, what about the length of the meeting? Parkinson's law is a theory that the amount of space we give to something is the amount of space it will take. So if you set a 1-hour meeting, it'll take an hour. If you set a shorter meeting, it'll be shorter. In addition to observing how often the meeting is, it's also important to observe how long the meeting is. Does it need to be that long? Number four, what are we trying to accomplish here? Is this a status meeting where everyone goes around and shares the status? Or is this what I call an action-oriented meeting? I am not a big proponent of status meetings because a lot of the status could be shared on your different platforms, on email, and it is not the best use of everyone's time. An action-oriented meeting is one that generates solutions, that has group coaching, that has team building, that has options to generate new ideas or revise old processes that are measurable. An action-oriented meeting is one that has measurable outcomes. It could be ideas generated. It could be learned skills. It could be an updated process. It could be group coaching. That is the best way to spend time with people, is to bring out the collective wisdom and have learning and team building. Last, how can we make meetings meaningful for building collaborative relationships and strengthening the team's collaboration? This could include having check-ins where everyone shares something about themselves that helps everyone get to know that person more and build the relationship, which builds the work relationship. It could be someone sharing a holiday that relates to them or their culture. It's a chance to be inclusive, to invite diversity, and create a warm environment where people look forward to this meeting. It's not just task, it's task and relationship. So as a recap, 5 ways to ensure you have effective, efficient, and meaningful meetings are: number 1, determine who's in the room and who needs to be in the room. Number 2, what's the frequency of the meeting? Does it need to be this frequent? Number 3, what is the length of this meeting? Does it need to be this long? Number 4, Is this an action-oriented meeting where you bring out the collective wisdom of the group, or is it a status meeting? And number 5, what are we doing to make this meeting meaningful and to help strengthen everyone's relationships with one another?